Mr. Larry Jehnert is a shining example of the dedicated and successful employees of our county. Please welcome Larry Jehnert, Harford County's 2014-15 Teacher of the Year.
6 minutes to go.
You know what an underestimated quality of people who work in schools is? It's amazing that when people work in schools, they can tell how everybody walks. Just by the sound of their walk, you can tell who's coming. It's like kids and adults. So this afternoon, I'm sitting in my room, and my wife works at my school, and I hear her walk, the Adrian walk. And over the years, she's always come down to my room to get me to go home. And this year, for whatever reason, she finally decided to pick up the intercom and say, "Larry, you ready? Come on." And I'm supposed to meet her at the car. So she doesn't walk down there anymore. But I still know her walk. So this afternoon, I was sitting there, and I heard the Adrian walk. And I said, "Oh, that's nice." I said, "She's going to come down and tell me good luck and everything, what's going on this evening." So she sticks her head in the door and she says, "Hey, don't forget the Chick-fil-A on the way home." I said, "Okay." And I said, "Is there anything else?" He goes, "Yeah, sweet tea." And then she left. So that was all. But yeah, congratulations to everybody. That's pretty amazing. 40 years is, just a dream on the radar screen for some of us. Just amazing accomplishment. 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. Anyone that has taught students and children. Back in 1974, I wasn't born yet. And my mom and my dad got married. That was their 40th anniversary's coming up. But any of those 40-year people want to guess what the most popular boy name was that year? What was it? Yeah, Michael. Michael wins. How about the popular girl name? Jennifer. Jennifer wins. I went to school, all kind of Michael and Jennifers. 1984, I was 5 years old. Anybody want to guess what the popular boy and girl name was? Michael and Jennifer. This is an easy one. Okay. 1994, I was a sophomore in high school. Anybody want to guess what the popular boy and girl's names were? This time, it was still Michael. That's my middle name, by the way. It's still Michael, and this time it was Jessica. Oh, we have some Jessicas up here. And in 2004, it was my 3rd year at Edgewood Elementary School. Anybody want to guess what they were now? Oh, there was Emma. Emma is the girl's name, and then Jacob was the boy's name. And then present day, Liam is the boy's name, and Olivia is the girl's name. So we've evolved from Michael and Jennifer. So, you think about those names. So I want you to think about these names, and I want you to think about what these names mean to you. Mr. Bill, Miss Simpkins, Mrs. Farber, Mr. Jim, Miss Lynn, Miss Zelinsky, Mrs. Call, Mrs. Adams, Mrs. Lang, Mrs. Thompson, and Mr. Law. Do those names mean anything to anybody? Well, they shouldn't, because they mean something to me. And these were people who were a part of my schooling. Mr. Bill, when I was in 8th grade, was my bus driver. And you probably, I don't know, I can't imagine ever driving a bus, but much less a bus full of middle schoolers. Mr. Bill was an older gentleman, and he always wore a hat. And the one thing I remember is he got on the bus, and Mr. Bill said, "Good morning, young man." Didn't say anything. And then you got off the bus, he said, "Have a good day, young man." But that was something that stuck with me, just something, say good morning and have a good day to everybody. Miss Simpkins was my kindergarten teacher. I didn't use a yearbook, by the way, either. These were all in my head. So don't think I cheated. I didn't have a yearbook, but Miss Simpkins was my She was my kindergarten teacher, and I remember laying down to go to rest time back in kindergarten, and she used to always sing us nursery rhymes. Miss Farber was my first grade teacher, and 1986, we were sitting in first grade, and we were all excited, and we watched the Challenger mission. And that was not easy, especially on a young child. And every day, I felt like when I left my house, my mom would not be there when I got back. And every day I went to school, and Miss Farber hugged me, and she said, "It's okay." And every day I left school, Miss Farber hugged me, and she said, "It's okay." Miss Sadinsky was my second grade teacher, and when we got out of control and we weren't listening, she turned the lights out and she told us to put our heads down. And she didn't yell at us, she just told us to sit there. And guess what? She would turn the lights on and we'd pop our heads up and everything was fine. And guess what I do? I turn the lights out and I say, "Put your heads down." And they pop their heads up and everything's fine. It's brilliant. Miss Call was my third grade teacher, and there was this little teddy bear that used to sit there with a mailbox, and his name was Teddy. And anytime you wanted to write to Teddy, you could write to Teddy. You could write what you thought, how you felt. You could write big things happening in your life, and you always got a letter back from Teddy. And that was brilliant because we weren't tugging on Miss Call, telling her all our business. We were telling Teddy. Probably had her kids writing us back. You know, I don't know who wrote us back. Miss Adams was my fourth grade teacher, and she introduced me to Indian in the Cover. And a couple years ago, my son's in sixth grade now. When he was in fourth grade, I introduced him to Indian in the Cover. It was just a great book. Mrs. Lang, she taught me, she's my fifth grade teacher, she taught me the importance of not rewarding bad behavior. And Ms. Lang told us we had this like state project to do, and you could do it. She had like all 50 states in this file folder, and you had to do at least 5 states, I think, to go to field day. I did Tennessee because it was the easy one, and that's all I did. And needless to say, I watched field day from my 5th grade window, and it looked awesome. Ms. Lynn was the secretary that I had, and Ms. Lynn at McCormick Elementary School, when I was in kindergarten and first grade, used to take the attendance up, and Ms. Lynn like had this little slide out thing on her desk, and you pull that slide out thing, and you take a book up, and you would read it to her. And we had this big reading program, leap to 100 books and all that stuff. So Ms. Lynn made time for students to read to her. Mrs. Thompson was a paraeducator that I had, and when we was doing the Patriot Award, I remember doing a Gettysburg Address, and as I'm saying it, I could see Miss Thompson mouthing it too. And as soon as we said it, she was like hugging us and all that stuff, just so excited as our paraeducator. I'm not going to single out one lunch lady, because whoever gave the recipe for these cookies in the cafeteria, I gotta find out. These lunch ladies made the best cookies when I was in school. And this was before Miss Obama got in this whole health kit where we could buy 20 cookies and 2 rows of them. And I remember buying like 3 packs of cookies, and that was my lunch. These things were so good. Mr. Law was an administrator that I had, and he used to walk around with this frog hat, this big foam frog on his head, because we had this reading incentive, jump into 100 books, and the whole school, they wanted each kid to read 100 books. And I remember him walking around with this big, poopy frog. I also had another administrator of mine actually sitting up here too. But this Candyman was my administrator, but I just didn't really have a whole lot of positive memories. And actually, full disclosure, a teacher a year can't get fired, right? So at this teacher banquet, I'm telling all my business about how I was a poor middle school student and a poor high school student. And Miss Canavan, after the speech, gave me a hug and she said it was so nice. And then she whispers to me and she goes, "I never had to suspend you, did I?" And no, it never got to that point. No, absolutely. I had some great high school teachers, Miss Sudbrain, and my English teacher. We had a passion for Cal Ripken. It was 1995, and he was breaking a streak and everything, and helped me to further my writing skills by connecting up with Cal Ripken. Miss Klug in middle school, she helped inspire me by reading more novels. Mr. Muir, my gym teacher in middle school, this guy put together the best dodgeball unit, and I miss it. And my son tells me they don't play dodgeball anymore. I'm like, oh man, dodgeball, that was the unit we always looked forward to. And Miss Roberts, my art teacher, was a horrendous artist, and she always made me feel good about the stuff that I produced. My point of all this is, I was not by any means a high achiever. I had the ability in school, I just mailed it in. By the time I got to high school, I really wasn't trying my best. I never even bothered to take the SATs. Because my mother told me not to, because I wasn't going to go anywhere but Harvard Community College. She said, don't waste my time or money. So I didn't even take math as a senior in high school. I had 2 A periods and 2 gym periods. My point of all this is, I wasn't, just because I wasn't a high achiever in school, that did not mean that I didn't have a good, positive school experience. I had a great positive school experience, and you can tell just by those stories that I have, just burned into my memory. I turned out to be a productive citizen. I turned out to be a pretty good guy, and it's because of everybody in this room, people like that, people like you. You know, it's daily interactions, it's daily relationships that are so important, and that's the stories that I tell. It wasn't the score on my math test, and it wasn't the score I was getting on running records or anything. It was daily interactions and the relationships that the people of the school system were able to build with me. You know, you can have all the technology that you want. You can have whiteboards, you can have iPods, you can have computers, you can have smartphones. In my opinion, nothing ever will take the place of genuine, human, face-to-face interaction. So once again, congratulations to everybody. You deserve it. In closing, one of my favorite songs is by Dave Matthews Band. Maybe those 20-year employees will relate to Dave Matthews Band a little bit better, but it's a song called Best of What's Around. And it's a song about, you know, relationships and picking up people when they're down. But there's one lyric that I took out of that song, and the lyric is, it's one of the refrains. He says, turns out not where, but who you're with that really matters. And isn't that the truth? It doesn't matter what school you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in the parking lot. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters who you're with. It matters the people that you work with, the colleagues that you have, the administrators that you have, the custodians that you have, the secretaries, the lunch ladies, the paraeducators, okay, the facilities department. It doesn't matter. It matters who you're with, okay, and not necessarily where you are. And I think everybody in this room realizes that, has that realization as well. Good educators, good positive educational experiences, that's what builds good people. Thank you.